Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max. Roller desk, we ballin' to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going. Roller desk, you pullin', now you know.
What's up, NBA fans? We are here. We are back with actually a Hoops and Brews first, so it's very dope for us. We have our first actual current NBA player that we're going to interview and talk to, Mr. Troy Brown Jr. of the Washington Wizards. He's a guard and a forward. He's been blazing it up in the bubble. Has been, notarized by ESPN as being one of the breakout, players of the bubble. Personally, I actually really like his game, and I've been looking at it, a lot as kind of we were prepping for the interview and just kind of seeing his overall play. So we're going to be very excited to bring him in a second. But Pavy, I wanted to kind of know what your thoughts were kind of on having our first NBA player on the show. It's been a long ride. Yeah, it's been a long time since you came to my apartment and told me you wanted to start a podcast.
Just even, seeing from where we started, I think about 4 years at this point. Yeah. We started 2017 season, right? Just all the growth, even
2016 October.
2016. Just seeing all the growth from covering the Clippers, now interviewing people. It's just like, I don't think that when I came up with the idea that I thought that this is what would come from it. Yeah. But it's great. It's great.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring in Troy so that way he can join us. Troy, welcome to Hoops and Brews. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Appreciate it.
I actually found your vlog on YouTube because I work for kind of digital entertainment companies, and I was looking up some creators, and I came across your vlog, and I was like, oh, this is really, really good. So that's, actually when I hit you up or at least left a comment, and then, your team responded and got with us. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate y'all having me on here. Yeah, it was funny because I saw the comment and I was like, oh, this is dope. I want to be a part of that. So I appreciate y'all putting this together for real. That's dope.
Oh, well, thank you, man. We definitely appreciate it. We've talked to kind of prospects and former players and European players and college players and stuff like that, but we actually haven't had conversations with players who are currently in the league. So, it's nice to actually be able to have that conversation. I mean, obviously we cover the Clippers as media, so we talk to you, to you guys, and I actually cover the game that you guys played in LA versus the Clippers, this season, and even just kind of seeing the media circus behind the scenes with Rui was really eye-opening for me because it kind of really let me know how much of the, the international spotlight has been on your team just because a guy like that is on your team, and then kind of watching your vlog and kind of seeing the behind the scenes experiences through the bubble, thought it was really, really cool. So, once again, thank you, kind of for joining us. So, Pavy, if you have any other words, I would love to, kind of, go ahead and get started.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm all good. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So, obviously there is a lot of stuff going on right now in the league. You're a young and up-and-coming player, so you might not have the voice of a LeBron James or Kevin Durant or Chris Paul, but all of you guys collectively are a collective unit. You collectively bargain. The players today for the Milwaukee Bucks, after talk with, between the Raptors and Celtics about boycotting the game that's supposed to take place on Thursday, the Bucks decided to boycott the game. The Magic left the game, and then pretty much, as it stands currently, all of the games have been canceled for the day. And the players that are remaining in the bubble will meet at 8 o'clock tonight to kind of talk about what's going on. And all of this was sparked because of the Jacob Blake shooting, which also is just kind of another, name and hashtag in the long line of hashtags that we get when you're an African American and you see another unarmed African American or even an armed African American man murdered at the hands of the police. What are your thoughts as kind of about everything that's been going on? And obviously you were in the bubble. How did it feel to kind of be shut off from the real world while kind of everything else is still continuing to happen?
And also one more thing, if I could also, Jay, I want to know also if you had any reservations about even coming down to Orlando in general.
Well, for me personally, just taking the stand on what's going on and having that voice, I'm more than okay with what they're doing. At the end of the day, it has to be bigger than basketball at some point. Just in general, with everything going on, a lot of people were upset with going down to Orlando in the first place just because of the fact that we wouldn't have that freedom to protest or to be out physically. But at the end of the day, that's our job and that's what we have to do. But I don't mind the protest at all, especially just from my sense and how strongly I feel about it, So yeah.
Yeah, Kenna, what were your initial reactions when, if you saw the George Floyd tape? I know there are some people who have elected not to see it because of, kind of the viciousness of it.
Right.
But what were your reactions when all of that stuff was happening, kind of as the talks were, heating up to come back? I was a personal person that was kind of saying that you all should have boycotted before the season, and it wasn't that I was, that I painted any of you guys out to be selfish, because I actually made it a point to not call any of you all selfish, but I just essentially believe that this would happen again, and then we would essentially be at this place that we are in now. Kind of what were your initial reactions when that happened with George Floyd, and kind of, and when you all did get the call back, how did you feel about it?
Well, just starting with the George Floyd thing, it's hard because you're stuck in a bind, because it's like, okay, if I go, then I have a platform to use and express, because the whole world's watching. The whole world is going to be watching NBA. We're one of the first sports to start back up. So it's like, it kind of takes you back to a sense where you're like, okay, well, if I don't go, I'm still able to help. But if I do go, it gives me a bigger platform to express how I feel about the situation, and just use that platform on a higher note. And so I could definitely understand both sides of it. Everybody's trying to figure out the right way to go about it. And like I said, I applaud the teams that are still down there that are boycotting it. Not saying that, they shouldn't play at all, but just in general to take a stand on it and actually like do something about it, instead of, 'cause a lot of us, like, we try to use our platforms and stuff like that. But like you said, being in the bubble is hard, like, because you're not able to actually physically be out there and be a representation of the Black community.
Yeah, and even well, actually, Pavy, I'll let you go ahead and follow.
Yeah, and you're young, like you're 21 years old. So I mean, just thinking back when the Trayvon case happened, I think I was 21, like your age. It's like you growing up and just seeing, after video after video after video after video after video, and just getting to this point. I mean, yeah, like just how was that? Like how mentally, how is that for you? Like, I mean, obviously,
we're not 21 anymore. I'm 30 now,
like,
and he's below 30.
I didn't grow. I mean, obviously, my parents are from the South, so I always knew that these things happen. Obviously, like everybody knows it, but it's different, seeing it on video and growing up seeing it on video. Like, again, I was an adult. Like, I was an adult during this period. But just how has that been for you mentally, just over the years, seeing it time after time after time?
Honestly, I mean, I would say it's just shocking. Like, it really like blows my mind that like we are at where we are today and stuff like this is still happening. And just the fact that people think that we're belligerent and like arrogant for asking for the same amount of respect kind of shows you where we are. And so for me, like, when I was younger, when the Trayvon thing happened, that was like at the first time in my life where I was like, that could have been you. Like, like you kind of like put yourself in those shoes. Like, all he was doing was walking home, and that happened. Like, and so it sucks. Like, it just sucks in the world we live in. And so all we can do is, for the people that have the voices, is try to speak up and just use your platform. Because I feel like if you don't say anything, you might as well just be sitting back and letting it happen, And so for me personally, I've been trying to use my platform and just do stuff here and there and voice my opinions on it, because it's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and I have a follow-up, not necessarily a follow-up, but you said something in terms of, kind of people not looking at us as Black people with kind of needing the same level of respect. We've heard a lot of people tell you all to shut up and dribble, or just shut up in general. So how do you feel about that entire shut up and dribble thing? And also, I've been a person that said, Pavy and I have had many heated arguments about sports returning and things of that sort, yelling and screaming at each other. Obviously about, kind of a common, discourse. But when we were talking to each other, a lot of the conversation kind of stemmed from, well, you and I have a platform and we aren't professional athletes. So why is it that we can have a platform and we not be professional athletes, but we feel as though professional athletes should just shut up and dribble? How do you feel about that?
I mean, for me personally, I don't like, I kind of go about it like LeBron, I feel like, set a good example with that. Like, just kind of taking that and running with it and kind of making it a slogan. And like, because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, if you fight back, you lose. But in the same way, if you don't say anything, you lose too. And so just being the bigger person about it, but still making it known and, putting it out there, that's not okay. Like, because for me, at the end of the day, I'm a person just like you are. The amount of money that I make doesn't have anything to do with the amount of respect that I should get towards anybody else. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. So, thank you for being as candid and as open as you were, kind of speaking about that. I know that it's like a hotbed issue and like we don't necessarily get in the business of sensationalism, but I believe in having conversations that need to be had. And if we can have these
100%.
conversations,
Yeah.
I feel like they need to be had. And honestly, you're a 21-year-old, and that's the thing that I've been telling a lot of the younger people that we encounter that follow us. I've been, I've been preaching entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur and owning your own business and owning your own stuff and trying to develop your own companies and talking to a lot of the youth that follow us about not trying to go out and follow the paths that have been set before because systematically we are still being held at a disadvantage. And then on top of that, we essentially have to deal with us being systematically killed as well. So, all of those issues are things that really matter, especially to people like us, because, we love this platform. But at the end of the day, when we turn off these cameras, these webcams, we just go back to being, Jonathan and Thomas and not who we are on these cameras. So, nobody else cares about that. So I'm glad that, that you all are being as proactive as a league as you are. And although I was critical of everybody coming back at first, I genuinely applaud all of you all for the job that you've done. Go ahead.
And I would like to say that just me as an African American, but I'm, like I said, I'm almost 30 years old now. A lot of guys in the league are young, and going back to what I said, about just growing up and just seeing these things, every single day. And I actually was a component of you guys going down there to play because I was just thinking about maybe the conversations that maybe, it could make somebody have that they don't want to have. And I actually think, if the players do decide, to not continue with the season, I think that's a huge message. And I think that is the best possible way to use your platform. Like obviously you went down there, people woke up today and were excited to see the Lakers, possibly advance. People woke up today and now they don't get to see that. And now they have to, maybe somebody has to explain to their son, like, okay, well, this isn't happening. Then their son asked their dad, well, why is this not happening? We don't know what type of conversations, that you guys can drive. So I just want to say, like, I want to commend you guys for the stance that you've taken and for the things that you've done in the boat, because I know it's not easy. You're down, you're locked in, Orlando. There is still a whole pandemic going on.
Right.
It's not like that isn't the case as well. You're locked there. You're away from your family. So I wanted to say that I appreciate the stance you've taken and the work that you all have put in day after day.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So we'll wrap that up and let's go ahead and let's actually kind of just talk about you in general. That's really why we wanted to, have this discussion. Just so happened that this happened the same day that we were filming this interview. But when I looked up, I've seen you play obviously, and and have watched your team. And as I said before, I covered you all, for a game this season as media. So my question for you is, once I saw that you were born in Vegas, I actually was very interested by that because I don't really feel like I see a lot of people or know a lot of people that have grown up in Vegas. So talk to me, what's life like growing up as a kid in Vegas? How is that for a young guy that wants to be a hooper living in Las Vegas?
For me personally, like just growing up, we don't have a very big sports culture in Vegas. It's a lot of people that come to Vegas and like they bet on stuff that's already established and other teams and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But for me growing up, like the Vegas community when it comes to sports isn't very big. Like like you said, like you don't know anybody that makes it out of Vegas. Mm-hmm. And like you can like actually like just be like, hey, he's out of Vegas, like this is a fact, and he's in the league doing this and that. There aren't a whole lot of us, and so. For me, like when I was younger, it was really hard just because I never had like that big brother figure to like follow or like show me the steps. So like for me, it was like, I'm gonna just give 110 and pray this sticks. I'm gonna like pray to God, like I'm gonna just work so hard to where I know that I gave 110. And if I don't make it, like I'm okay with that because I gave 110 to this. And so like growing up, it was hard just because Vegas is a passing state. Everybody just kind of comes to Vegas. They stay for a couple years because the economy's like lower and you pay less, and then they move to California, move to Arizona. So like a lot of my friends like would come and go. And so for me, like that basketball was like all I had. Like you feel me? Like that was the only thing. Besides, like my family and basketball, those are the only things that like stick for me. And so, just growing up, I just always just looked at basketball as like a gateway. And so it's helped me so much to get to where I'm at. And so I just thank God for the opportunity that I was given.
Are you a Raiders fan now, or were you a Raiders fan before, or like where does your football allegiance lie?
I'm not
outside of Oregon, obviously.
Fan. I'm just not a huge football fan in general.
Okay.
Just for the city of Las Vegas, I'm like happy, but like from a like rooting for the Raiders standpoint, I'm more like we'll see like how everything goes. And Yeah, like, but from like them coming here, it's definitely helping the city 100%.
So, so you said that you didn't have, kind of like a big brother figure, but was there anybody that you kind of like looked up to, like outward for, inspiration? Like, were there any stories, of people that were already in the league, or maybe didn't even make the league, just, guys that you kind of looked up to and was like, you know what, if he can do that, then I can at least do this?
I don't know. For me, like I would just say like specifically, like, I don't have anybody like in mind. For me, I think the biggest thing was more so of like I never felt like I was in a box. Like I always felt like I could always get it done myself. Like I'm really prideful when it comes to stuff like that. Like the same thing you guys like were talking about earlier about like telling kids to like be their own entrepreneurs. Like that's how I feel with my life. Like nothing is off limits. And so for me, like I was like, who's to say like a kid from Vegas that like doesn't go to a prep school and goes to a regular high school in Las Vegas, Nevada, can't make it to the NBA? Like, why is that not possible? Like, I don't feel like I need to ride anybody else's coattail to get to where I need to be. And so to make it to where I am now, like with that, like embodied in my head, for me, like definitely gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of that, kind of in confidence, you were a guy that that actually took advantage of the bubble play to get better. You came back, physically. You were improved as an athlete. You dropped some body fat. Some body fat. So kind of, what was life like in the bubble for you? Obviously, we see the vlogs, but PG spoke the other night about his mental health in the vlog and how. I'm sorry, not the vlog, in the bubble, and how and how kind of people don't really understand how much of a kind of toll it takes on it on you all in terms of mental health. How was that for you, or was it just more so about you trying to create those experiences through your vlog, so that was more so what you were leaning into when you were by yourself?
For me personally, like just going into the bubble in general, like my mindset was so focused because this was a very big opportunity for me. And I knew for me personally, this was a very big chance for me to take a step in my game, but more so to show people what I'm capable of, And so for me, the biggest thing with that was I was just so focused for those 4 months that we were off, that like preparation gave me confidence to go do what I did. And so I would say the biggest thing coming out of that was for me, like I was able to stay so focused that like I didn't waver. Like, you feel me? Like regardless of what was going on, like, I wasn't worried about like what food I was like eating or if it was super high quality or anything like that. I was just so focused on the job at hand that I didn't see anything else. And so talking about the Paul George thing though, like it's hard. You're away from your family. Like I was only there for a month and a half, and like that's a lot, like to be away from your family, not like your girlfriend or like your dogs or anything. Like people just think like because we make so much money that like it's like, oh, okay, you're fine. And like I said earlier, we're regular people just like everybody else. The money is just a bonus on top of something that we love. So when PG openly came out and said that, I fully supported him with that, because that's hard. Like they've been there for so long, and like you have to make it past the first round of the playoffs before you can bring anybody into the bubble.
Yeah, and literally you guys couldn't come within 6 feet of anyone else, right? Or at least unless you were like doing physical activities or training, correct?
Yeah, so like they preached like social distancing stuff to us. So we had to follow like guidelines and stuff like that. And even talking about like interacting with your teammates, we weren't allowed to go in each other's rooms and stuff like that. So
yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
So what did you do to keep yourself sane? Like, what did you do outside of basketball? And also, like, because I kind of even like on the press conference, we've asked Doc, and I cover the WNBA, so I've also asked some of the players, like, how do you not just get so locked in on basketball? Like, what do you do where it's like, you know what, I can kind of check out of the game and just have fun with life and just think about something else for 3, 4, 5 hours?
Well, for me, I felt like I said, like for me, it was way different. Like I'm a young dude, I'm trying to make a name for myself. So like this is a huge opportunity for me. Like, and especially like for the Wizards, like we have so many young guys that are just trying to really like show what they're capable of. So like for me, it wasn't that hard to just be like, yo, I'm locked in. And then I had the vlog on top of that. So I had something keeping me entertained and, keeping me locked in and like just being there for the moment, like, and being able to be and live in the moment. But for a lot of those guys, like they've been in the league for so long that it's really hard to just be like, okay, I'm gonna be away from my family for 2 months and not care and just focus on basketball. Like that's really hard because like the people that you live with take your mind off of basketball.
Yeah.
So like when you can't come home and like talk to those people or like get stuff off your chest or like take a weight off, like that's hard because when you go back to your hotel room, which isn't home,
Yeah.
like you know it's not home. So mentally it's draining. And I could definitely understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your vlog, I want to get into that because that's kind of how this all started. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about your vlog after we watch it, but I want to play about a minute or so of a clip from your vlog so that way we can show the people what you do behind the scenes.
Yeah. Dave, they know you, man.
Yeah, Dave, famous.
Hey, man. That is crazy, dog.
Yeah, just go ahead and cuss, why don't you? Knowing that.
Hey, we got to get together here. We're gonna go back and we're gonna plot out. Let me get ready to depart the facility here. And I'm always say that what we got here is a failure to communicate. You know that movie? It's a movie called No. Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand Luke. What we got here is a failure to communicate. I don't think you understand me, boy. What I'm trying to tell you. Or we can do, Emma like to play babies. Or we can do, Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster love chocolate chip cookies. Or we can do count. Count me. 1.
How many?
2 cookies. 3 cookies. 4 cookies. Cookie Monster. Okay, so let's go gator hunting. What we're gonna do?
Nah, bro, I'm not.
All right, so that was a clip from Troy's vlog. The thing that I really enjoyed about it was, number one, you showing a lot of the behind-the-scenes team personnel. I think it added an extra dimension. I think my favorite part about covering the league is being able to meet the people behind the scenes, to meet the reporters, the coordinators, the food people, the people, the security guards, knowing the security guards at Staples and that kind of stuff. So being able to see you not only interact with your teammates, but interact with them as well was pretty cool. But also the thing that I felt like I noticed in your vlogs is that you all seem to be, although you're a very young unit and although you all didn't win a ton of games in the bubble, you seem to be very, very close with Thomas Bryant and the rest of the guys on the team. And I think a lot of that chemistry showed on the floor, especially in terms of, you dishing out the ball, which you pretty much, I think you have at least 4 assists in 5 games, and you have 5 assists in 3 bubble games. So how do you feel like, the team camaraderie and you showing that in the vlog actually translates in real life? Are we actually seeing how you guys interact in real life?
Oh yeah, I would say like for us, like being a young group of guys, like we just wanted to make the most out of our opportunity. So everybody down there were in high spirits. Everybody hates losing, and where we were at standing wise didn't help us like mentally. But I would say from having each other's standpoint, it definitely was good. Everybody had each other's back, and like I said, we had a young core out there, so we all could relate, and we all were really bonded with each other. And so everything that was on there was like mostly like really like raw cut. Like I didn't have to make a lot of cuts to anything, or like everybody was just being like themselves, like and just trying to make the most out of the bubble experience.
What made you, was this a decision that you kind of decided way ahead of time that you were going to document the whole thing, or was it something that you kind of got there and you was like, you know what, like did something happen, you was like, you know what, I got to record this, or was it something that you knew beforehand?
Well, I got somebody recommended it to me, and I have always just been in the position where I'm like, I need to take care of basketball first. Like I've always wanted to do like vlogging and like do the YouTube stuff, but I was just like, I'm too locked in on basketball. Like I gotta like take care of this first before I can like worry about anything else. And so the biggest thing, like coming into it, like the first day, like I didn't even really record anything. Like when we flew to Orlando, and then finally I got there, and I was just like, I feel like people would really like to see like what's really going on within the bubble. Like people want to know what's going on. And so with the group of guys we had, and even the Wizards, like I tweeted it out, and then the Wizards like responded to me and like called me and was like, hey, like if you do it, we'll help you with it. And so just knowing I had that support with it, and knowing that it was something that I could really enjoy myself and make it my own really helped a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, before we get ready to get you out of here, what I really wanted to ask you is what are your expectations next season when you guys get John Wall and Bradley Beal? I understand that you all have a young roster and there may be some trades, but I actually think that you're one of the guys that they should, without a doubt, keep. I actually think that, kind of a lot of the way that Houston runs their offense and kind of with everyone being positionless, I think, with a guy like John Wall and Bradley Beal and Rui and even Thomas Bryant, I think you guys can run a similar style offense and play very, very fast. You're a great passer in transition. Bradley Beal's a great passer in transition. John Wall's obviously, when healthy, one of the best point guards in the NBA and of probably the last 10, 15 years. So what are your expectations for when those guys come back and for yourself? Because you've also, slowly but surely crept your way up into that starting lineup, and I think you have the ability to stay there. What are your thoughts?
I mean, for me personally, like the biggest thing is like I feel like next year is our opportunity to win. I feel like next year is our season for us to really go out and make the most out of us developing. That's what we've been doing this year, and so just making the playoffs is the biggest thing. Like that's step number one. Like we definitely have to make the playoffs, and so from there, I mean, I feel like we have enough pieces to where we could really do some damage next year, and I feel really confident in the players we have and the coaching staff that we have. I just feel like at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to go out there and make that happen. And so I feel like we're more than capable of making the playoffs next year, and that should be the goal.
How happy are you that you got to have the on-court responsibility that you had in the bubble, going towards next year? Because I would assume that would give you confidence in times where it's like, you know what, I don't need not I don't need them, but it's like I can do this myself. If I get into a situation, I trust myself to be able to go make a play. So I guess how good is it that you had this experience before you get them back next year?
It was great, just for me personally, just especially from a confidence level. Like just like you said, like no disrespect to John or Brad, but just knowing what I'm capable of and doing it at the highest level, especially during like the bubble, like when the whole world's watching, and just being able to go do what I'm capable of. That definitely helped me a lot, confident wise. And for me, like I don't take it as like a disrespect to like John or Brad. I just think it's more of a like I can help y'all, like I can help take some weight off y'all back, like you feel me? So
yeah, okay. I gotta ask a question, and I know Bradley Beal gonna be mad at me, but I need to know. I know you're gonna say yes because he's your teammate, but I know Bradley Beal was very upset about not making All NBA because he averaged 30.
Hold on, wait. We've had this argument many of times on the show.
I have said because you all did not make the playoffs, he should have not been All NBA. It's no offense to any of you all. You all are great human beings. But I didn't think he should have made All NBA. Pavy disagrees with me. What
vehemently disagree with you.
Well, because my thing, okay, so you say that, but then at the same time, it's like they let guys into the All-Star game that don't make the playoffs. How does that make sense? So you glorify somebody.
That's the All-Star game. That's like a mid-season thing. Those guys, I mean, am I wrong?
I'm just asking. But some people did over him. Like that's my argument.
Outrageous.
It's like, how are you gonna snub him for All-Star if you're not counting records, but then put him on All NBA? So like my thing is like you either had to do one or the other. That's how I felt about it. Because I felt like he got snubbed for All-Star, and I'll say that to anybody. So if you're not gonna put him on the All-Star team, then he needs to make All NBA.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he was snubbed for All-Star, but I also
he averaged 30.
Can you let me finish?
30 points.
Yes, G, yes.
Troy, real quick.
Saying,
Troy, can you please explain to people how hard it is to average 30 American points in the National Basketball Association?
I averaged 10 this year. Okay, so he averaged 20 more points than I did. Like, you feel me? Like at the end of the day, like I said, like I don't think you can average 30 points and not be one of the best players in the league. I don't think that.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. Look,
but it wasn't like we were dead last. We were literally
exactly.
You were ninth, and had he played, I think you all.
Had he played, you had a chance to make the playoffs.
I think you would have. I don't know how y'all would have fared against the Bucks, but y'all would have made it. I do think y'all would have made it if he would have played. I actually was very bummed out that he didn't make it because I had a bottle bet with Pavy about Karis LeVert because he told me Karis LeVert was going to average 24 and the Nets was going to win more than 2 games. I told him he was out of his mind, and they won more than 2 games, but he didn't average 24. He averaged 22, I think, .1. So Pavy, I want my due say. But actually, next year we're gonna have to make some bets on you so that way you can come through. But Troy, we definitely appreciate you for taking the time to speak with us. Sorry we ran over about 10 minutes long kind of than what initially, but we appreciate the conversation. anytime you want to come back and just talk hoops or just, kind of shoot the shit in general, you're more than welcome. Obviously, you won't be in the bubble for a while, and we have no idea what's going to happen as it pertains to next season. So anytime you want to come through, talk, or if you have any clips that you want us to promote or put out there, or you want to come and plug a new vlog or do whatever, feel free to hit us up. And you're more than welcome to come on our platform at any time. Please let the people know where they can find you at. We really appreciate it.
Well, I just want to say thank you to you guys for having me on. Definitely appreciate it, especially y'all reaching out to me. That's huge just for me in general, because I took a limb just starting the vlog thing. So I appreciate y'all on that. You can find me on Instagram at Troy Brown Jr. and then same thing on Twitter. But at the end of the day, like I said, I just want to say thank you to you guys for having me on.
Oh yeah, man! Thank you. We're the Hot Take Masters, but as like the people don't get to see when we report, we're actually very good reporters and we cool people. We spew hot takes, but is that not what it's for? Actually, a really quick last question. How do you all feel about shows like ours and First Take? And number one, do guys actually watch it? And number two, do guys actually care?
Definitely depends on the player, because my thing is I'm kind of like a positive energy type of guy. So for me, I'm okay with you keeping 100, but if you're just gonna bash people and stuff like that, I don't hear that. That's just how I am. You should just put positive energy in the air. But for me personally, I think that what y'all do is great. Everything, I kind of watched a couple of the videos y'all had early on and stuff like that, and I think y'all do a great job because y'all just keep everything clean cut and really 100 about everything. Y'all are great shooters about what y'all talk about. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we try not to go overboard with the disrespect, because we understand we see certain guys that were even in the NBA that we think go a little bit too far, and we really try to stay out of y'all personal lives. We really only talk about basketball.
Right.
If you played trash that day, I'm sorry, G. You played trash that day. You know what I mean? When PG was trash, he was trash. Now, did people need to call him all the names they called him? No.
It wasn't PG fault, man.
No. But he not gonna act like he was good in those games. I mean, you weren't good, but he made a change. He turned it around. Now he back playoff P again. So I'm glad that at least some of you guys don't take it as personally, and you do at least kind of see the place for it, because I do think that we aren't responsible for you guys being as big as you are, but I do think that shows that center around what you guys do does help to elevate your sport. So I always think that it's good when you guys interact with people. And also, this is my biggest thing for you as a young player growing up. I would like to make you a personal challenge to you to give more Black media members more opportunities to be able to talk to you, including when you become an all-star, a superstar, even if you become an NBA and a LeBron level figure. I think that it starts with a lot of you guys giving people that look like you the opportunity to craft stories around you all, or at least talk to you all, so that way people that look like us can see you all talking to people that look like them from their perspective, versus seeing kind of, you always talking to the same original people that are always, at the forefront. And I'm not just talking about us. I'm talking about a B reporter that maybe just want a minute of your time. I think that, you guys, as well as the WNBA players, should really put forth a lot of the effort to make sure that Black media members are looked out for, because I think that, if you guys want to create change, it begins off the floor, obviously. But I think that you all can affect change by just giving more Black media outlets the opportunity to cover you guys. Because even if a Black person is saying something bad about you, that it's one of your people, and you would at least think can understand, or some of the plight. I see a lot of these reporters, and even the way that they were talking about Kyrie, and they aren't Black, and I don't think that Black media felt the same way about certain things that were going on. So thank you very much again, and we really, really appreciate it, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all. Like you said, though, it's our job to normalize it at the end of the day. So yeah.
Yes, Troy Brown Jr., thank you for joining us on Hoops and Brews. We will get up with you next time. And until then, fans, thank you all very much. Patreon.com/HNB if you would like to support us. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. This has been Hoops and Brews. Peace out.
Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max. Roll up this, we ballin' to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going.